Welcome into Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. In this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. We are here giving you the NBA picks on Monday night, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, man, the people in the room. Welcome into Ride the Line, Grant.
Thank you, Tanner. Welcome into Ride the Line, everybody, and welcome into the new week. Hope you all have a good Monday. Tanner, question for you, actually. Do you get the Sunday scaries at all?
No, never. Never Sunday scary. I enjoy what I do every day, so it's hard to get the Sunday scaries. I'm around a lot of people who get the Sunday scaries. I mean, life sucks if you don't like what you do on a Monday morning, but no, I'm good. I just make videos and TikToks and sports betting content, so I really can't complain.
Yeah, I've had that conversation with a lot of people about not about the Sunday scaries. That was me being a little silly, but about people who like dread going to work on Monday. Do I enjoy waking up super early in the morning? I mean, if I could sleep in, maybe I would for a little bit, but like I like what I do. And that to me, that's the most important thing. Because if you enjoy what you do, then you never work a day in your life. That's what they say.
Yeah, definitely. No, I enjoy what I do. No Sunday scaries here. I mean, there's some times where I got stuff I got to do that I don't necessarily want to do that's part of the
You get a
job.
little stressed out sometimes.
Yeah, obviously, but it's not like I hate going to work. Like there's people that genuinely like hate Monday because they hate what they do. And it's a long life if you do. So that's our motivational tip of the day. If you have something that you don't like doing on a Monday morning, you should probably figure out something that you enjoy doing on a Monday morning, and then life will become a lot easier.
I agree. And you know what else? What else life is easy is when you're winning some money. It's when you're winning some money on the sports books. And that's what Tanner and I are going to try to help you guys and help ourselves do on Monday because we got some picks for you all.
Definitely. We got a bunch of picks. Before we get into that, make sure you follow the page, like the video, share, subscribe. Do it all, guys. Let's take this thing to the moon. March Madness is coming up. That's going to be a big time for us. So make sure you support us there and tune in every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday on the show. Last week, we talked a little of everything. Today, we're just focusing on the NBA. Small slate in the NBA tonight, small slate in the NHL. Moderate slate in college basketball, I believe, but we're all NBA focused. So, Grant, why don't you take it away with the first pick?
Okay. Well, I guess I don't know if I should do these together or not. You know what? I'm still gonna separate them, but I got two picks from the same game. We're gonna make a little same game parlay out of this one. But we'll start with the game pick. We're gonna go with the Miami Heat at +7.5 against the Sacramento Kings. Now, the Heat have not played since Friday night. They beat the New Orleans Pelicans in that one. And Jimmy Butler sent a warning. He said, this is the time of the year that, we turn into ourselves. We turn into the real version of our team that everybody's so scared of in the playoffs. Now, Jimmy Butler will not play in this game because he was suspended for fighting against the Pels on Friday. But this is actually really impressive and really important. The Heat without Jimmy Butler this year, 11 of 18. So that would be 11-7 straight up. And they won 4 of their last 5. So obviously Butler is great. They need him in the playoffs, but they don't need him to win regular season games. And you've seen that, proven throughout the course of the season. They're going against a Kings team that is pretty good, won 3 straight, both games since the All-Star break. However, they did play last night. They easily beat the Clippers, but still they're coming off the second night of a back-to-back, while the Heat have 2 full days of rest advantage. Sacramento is only 43.5% against the spread as a home favorite. Miami 61% on the road as an underdog. So that's certainly something you should be looking for. And then, you know what? I'm going to hold off on this part of it because it actually leads into my second pick. So I'll save that one. But Miami, despite their offense not being the best, they have the second best defensive rating when they are on the road. Their road net rating outdoes the Kings' home net rating. So I just think that any way you look at it, this should be a relatively 50-50 matchup. And for the line to be at where it is at 7.5, I think that's far too many points. So I like the Heat in this one.
Sacramento 3-5 against the spread with no rest. So I'm liking it, Grant.
Thank you. And I saw, I wish I had the exact numbers to pull. I saw someone post one of those spreadsheets on Twitter a few days ago, probably before the Pelicans game. And they were talking about Eric Spoelstra with the rest advantage. And it's kind of like, Andy Reid off a bye, basically. It's like he's borderline unstoppable compared to all the other coaches when he has more rest than his opponents. So I just think it's a good spot. It's a good spot to go with the Heat.
With a rest advantage this season, Miami is 6-6, but I'm sure that trend is over time, obviously. Good coaches tend to win over time. But 6-6 still pretty good going against a 3-5 team with no rest. So I would definitely lean towards the Heat plus the points tonight. I'm in the NBA as well, and I like the Pacers at -6.5 against the Raptors. You really can't trust Toronto on the road. They're just 9-20 as visitors this season. They've lost 7 of their past 10 games on the road. The Pacers have the 25th worst defensive rating in the NBA, but they still win at home. They're 19-11 as the home team here. Indiana also doesn't play defense, so their offense should just overpower Toronto in this one as a whole. The Raptors 22nd defensive rating. I don't think we're going to see a lot of defense in this game overall. With the offense, the Pacers are just much better than the Raptors. They acquired Pascal Siakam. He's going against his old team tonight. I think he's going to be good. Tyrese Halliburton, the minutes restriction is starting to get lifted there, so we'll look for him to be dominant as well, and look for this whole Pacers team to be dominant. I mean, they've been really good offensively the entire year. They lead the league in points per game with 124. The Raptors are scoring just 114 points per game. They've also given up 119 plus in 4 of their past 5 games. So just not a recipe for success against the Pacers team that is going to score like crazy tonight. So going to lay the points here, -6.5.
Yeah, I know the Raptors kept it close. They actually had a chance to win. They only lost by 2 when these teams played just before the All-Star break. But again, that was before the All-Star break. Since coming back, the Pacers have looked really good. They're starting to look like a real top 6 team again. They just beat the Mavericks by 22. I was on the Mavericks. That was a really impressive. By the way, just putting this out there, I think Dallas is going to be one of the best teams in the league in the second half of the season. So for them to beat them by 20 points kind of shows me, Indiana might be back, because we saw they had like a record-setting offense at the start of the season, kind of went away from that when Halliburton was injured, and then since he's been building his minutes back up. But with Pascal Siakam, and just as the years gone on, their defense has got better. So if they can bring that, or they can couple that better defense with this offense that they once had, then they're going to be really good. And, to your point, the Raptors are awful. They're like bottom 5 in net rating, offensive and defensive rating over the last month or so. They really just don't do a lot of things very well right now. So with Indy trending up, this is probably the right time to take them.
Yeah, definitely. Really like them here at home too. I mean, the Raptors on the road just haven't, they've been even worse on the road than they've been at home. So not a spot that I want to play them here. So going to lean towards the Pacers. Now, Grant, I go back to a comment. I think we talked about this potentially before a show or on a show. I think it was during a show, but we were talking about like teams knowing how to win. Do you think the Pacers are going to be there this season? Like going against the Lakers in the end season tournament, the Lakers knew how to win. They might not be the better team, but they're going to find a way. Where I just don't feel that way about the Pacers when we get into championship time.
Yeah, I don't feel that. I don't feel that way about them either. I mean, Rick Carlisle is a good coach, so I'm sure he's going to try to talk them up to it. But there's just something to be said for experience, and the Pacers really don't have it. It's just a lot of guys. I like the team they've assembled. Don't get me wrong, and I guess Pascal Siakam did win an NBA Finals, but with Halliburton, who's the team's best player, pretty much all of the supporting cast, again, aside from Siakam, you just don't really have deep playoff experience or even NBA experience. These are a lot of young guys. So, Indy might be able to win a round in the playoffs or so, but depending on their matchup, I would probably still be betting against that.
Definitely. All right, Grant, second pick.
Yeah, so like I said, it's a little same game parlay here. And though it's the part of the matchup I didn't want to talk about, I'm going to take the under on De'Aaron Fox's points. His line's at 23.5. And I know that's a little low considering he's averaging better than 26 for the year. But if you look at some of his numbers, he hasn't necessarily been at his best recently. He started the year red hot, was averaging like 30 points per game through 3 months. He averaged 22 last month and 26 so far in February. Now, he did beat this total in his last 4 games. But in 4 games before that, he didn't even hit 20 points. So he's been oscillating kind of back and forth, hot and cold. And he really is going to have a tough time going against the Miami Heat here. They give up the 5th fewest points in the paint per game. And, Fox is somebody who has developed the jump shot, but he does like to get in that painted area, whether it's for a little fadeaway or if he's trying to attack the rim. Miami does a good job defending all of that. Like I mentioned earlier, they have the 2nd best defensive rating when they are on the road. I believe that is like 110 or so, maybe even below that. And then Fox has also just struggled against Miami. In the 1 game he played against them this season, he only scored 13 points. He's gone, he's gone under this line in 9 of 11 career matchups against Miami. That includes 3 of his last 4. It's just, Miami, they're a good defensive team. And without Jimmy Butler in the lineup, although Jimmy is a good defender himself, I think you're going to need to see them, or you're going to see them think, okay, we need to win this game in other ways than we normally do. We don't have one of our best scorers on the team. What does that mean? We need to up the intensity even more on defense. That starts by slowing down Fox, and I think the Heat will be able to do that.
Yeah, I like it. It's definitely a little risky play there, but the sports books are setting that line low for a reason, right? They're setting it low, setting it a few points below his actual total. You don't see that much. So when that's the case, definitely be a little weary of that. So it's a good catch by you, Grant.
Thank you. Thank you. And if you parlay those, you can get what? I mean, you know what? Why don't I give you the exact number? So if you go with the Fox under and you take the Heat at +7.5, then you will get that according to FanDuel for +204. So you can get 2-1 if this comes through.
There you go. Grant, guess what I'm starting today?
What you going with?
The ladder challenge. 10 to 10K. It's not gonna, it's already destroyed, but I'm gonna try it for a few days.
I did the math on it one time. I wish I could tell you what it was, but I know it's unlikely. I know that much.
I think you can get to not realistic, but like you could probably get to day 5. But day 5, you don't even turn much of a profit. I think it's only like $400 on day 5. Could be wrong.
So are you doing this with just picks at +100, or are you making parlays for everything?
I'm gonna make +1. I'm gonna make parlay. Whatever I feel like getting to +100. So today I'm doing Bruins and Kansas State money line. Bruins will probably sell it, but we'll see. We'll figure it out. But Kansas State should come through against West Virginia tonight. I don't know what the odds are though. Let's look it up for the people. If you don't know what the ladder challenge is, it's basically when you take $10 or whatever starting amount you want to turn into, and then multiply it by 10,000.
You got to double it.
You keep doubling every day. But if you start with $10 and day 10, you would end with 10,000 if you double it for 10 straight days.
Exactly, yes. And it's extremely hard to do. Matter of fact, while you look at the odds, I'm going to look up the odds of completing that, because I did know them at one point, but I seem to have forgotten for whatever reason.
So basically by day 5, if you can turn it to day 5, like if you can go 5 straight days, doubling your parlays, you're going to get, let's see, 10, 20, 30, 40. You get to 320 if you win on day 5. 5 consecutive days of hitting +100 parlay is definitely very hard. Day 6, you can get it to 640. Day 7's when you really make some serious money.
Okay, sorry. I'm doing the math on my calculator right here. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so you would have, what is this? I believe you would have a 0.09% chance of completing this.
0.09% chance of completing it. So points, what's that? So that's under 1%.
That's under 0.1%.
0.1% of getting to day 10.
Yes, of completing this successfully.
So did you just take +100 and multiply it by 10 days or something?
I just did, because +100 is basically 50%. So I just did 50% times 50%, blah, 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 all the way up to, the 10th day.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's probably not going to hit, but if you can get some traction too online, if you can get to like day 4, day 5, people start showing up. So hopefully we can get to like day 5. We'll see. If not, you only lose $10 a time, which you could do this literally every day. I was thinking about this. You could do this every day for the entire calendar year. The most you would lose is $3,600, 36, whatever, let's say.
I mean, that's a lot of money.
No, it is a lot of money. But again, if you can get to day 8 one time, you're back. So that's what it comes down to.
No, that's not true. Because if you get to day 8, then you're not going to cash out. You're gonna bet it again.
Well, that's your choice. Like you could get to day 8 and be like, hey, I'm good. I got my money back. Or you could be like, hey, I want to keep going. So
it's not the $10 to day 8 challenge. Well, it's 10 to 10K.
Depends. I'm doing it for the love of the game. There's people that might be doing it to make money. It's totally different. But anyways, yeah, probably not high probability. We're gonna try it. We're gonna see how it goes today, and we'll start today. The Bruins will sell, but what are you gonna do? All right. Team that's not going to sell, though. New York Knicks, -11.5 points tonight against the Detroit Pistons. If the Knicks can't get right against the Pistons, I don't know what to say. They've lost 5 of their past 6 games. They haven't kept many of the losses close, but they faced good teams over the stretch: Mavericks, Celtics, Pacers, Magic. So looking at that, they got an inferior Pistons team coming to Madison Square Garden tonight. They should be just fine. The Pistons have not covered in 3 of their past 4 games. Overall, they're 500 against the spread. They've been better in the second half of the season against the spread. However, 11.5. Just, I don't think it's going to be enough tonight. Jalen Brunson's been a machine, averaging 27.6 points per game, 8th in the NBA. Need some more consistency from the scoring side from Josh Hart. If he can do that, though, with Brunson, I think New York's going to be just fine. Pistons are 29th in defensive rating. The Knicks are 9th. We're going to have an intense effort. I think this is a must-win game. If you are the New York Knicks, it's a must-win statement game. You can't lose to the Pistons at home, and you can't have it be close, especially with how you've been playing as of late.
Yeah, if this happened a week ago, I'd probably go with the Pistons. In all honesty, because they were actually doing really well against the spread. They were on some streak of covering X amount of games as a double-digit underdog, and just straight up, they've been doing really well against the spread. But like you said, they've covered only in 3 of the last 5, I think. 3 of the last 4, actually. I know that they kept it close against Orlando the other night, and that was respectable. But to your point, the Knicks might have lost 5 of the last 6, but it's not necessarily their fault. Like 4 or 5 of their top 6 players were injured for a lot of those games. And then you lose to the Celtics the other night. There's no shame in that. It's the best team in the NBA right now. So I would probably go with the Knicks. I would be a little scared of it. I probably wouldn't bet this personally, but I think you're on the right side of it.
There we go. All right. Well, we got our NBA picks for the day. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about our NBA picks. So if you want to tail them, make sure you let us know in the comments section, guys. Let us know what you're taking. Grant, one quick question for you before we sign off here. Did you see the Dan Hurley video that they showed on College Game Day? It was going around Twitter. I retweeted it. It was like when he was saying championship teams are not built on walking, or they're built on running.
Built on running, yeah.
And he was going on. He's like, Adamas Sinogo ran. All these guys.
Jordan Hawkins ran.
And then he said the wrench. When he goes the wrench at the end, do you remember that part? I forget what player it was, but he's like, the wrench. Dude, I would run through.
This is the thing. I don't know what type of coaching style you responded to the best. That's the coach I respond to the best. Like, I wanted somebody yelling at me, because that's like, it just brings that fire out of me.
Well, I think there's a difference too. Like, I had coaches that yelled, but like also didn't care. I feel like Dan Hurley's your guy. Like, off the court, like he's got your back. Like he might kill you on the court.
He's yelling because he's into it. It's not just like he's an angry guy.
Like, he's passionate. Like, I don't think he's again, I've never played for him. I don't think he's an a-hole off the court, but like, I think he's like probably got your back more than anyone else off the court. But on the court, he's gonna grind you. That was probably the best. I had an offensive line coach in college that was their style. Like, some of the stuff that was told to us on the field, it was the scariest thing I've ever heard in my life. But off the field, I'm like, that's my guy. Like, he's got my back. So
that's exactly how I felt, for sure.
Does UConn win the national championship?
We talked about this on the show. What are their odds to make the Final Four? Like plus 125?
Plus 125, yeah. Plus 110 now, I think it's down to make Final Four. That's so risky, though. I'd rather take them.
Yeah. Like, I think they will make the Final Four, but I'm not betting it for that. I need something more than that.
Minus 125 right now to win the Big East tournament. I like that. I do kind of like that. It's not, again, it's better than getting, because you're going to play, you're not going to have to face Creighton and Marquette. You're only going to have to face one of them.
But I would just rather bet the games one by one. I don't want to bet minus 125 on the futures.
No, I don't either. But also, too, you're going to be laying like they were 12.5 point favorite against Villanova. They covered it with ease, but they were still a 12.5 point home favorite against Villanova. So neutral site, you're pro at 8.5, 9.5. It's like, I don't know.
It's the problem. It's the problem with betting on these great teams, like teams that are so clearly better than everyone else. Like, they have these lofty standards they have to live up to every time, and I mean, this is different because the Pacers aren't a great team, but like to your pick earlier, when the Pacers only beat the Raptors by 2 last week, the Raptors were like the worst team in the league at that point. And, the Pacers were so clearly better, but when you have to beat a team by like 7-8 points every time you're out there, it's just, sometimes you're just going to show up, you're going to be tired, your shots aren't going to fall, stuff like that. So it's a high bar that you've set for yourself that you have to live up to.
Definitely. Well, if you guys want tournament coverage, we're going to have it all at WSN. We're ramping up for that. So make sure you check that out. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, talking daily picks. And Grant, why don't you take us out of here for today?
That's going to do it for Ride the Line, guys. Make sure that you like the video. If you did enjoy, comment, let us know what your favorite plays for Monday are. And Tanner and I will catch you in the next episode of Ride the Line.